So Lalo Tequila was just acquired by Tito's Vodka. Now what? Could this be the downfall of one of the fastest growing tequila brands on the planet? Or will this be the catalyst that absolutely catapults them into another level of growth? What actually happened? Why is this happening? Are there any positives that we can take from this? What are the negative sides of all of this? And ultimately, what do I think is going to happen with this? Ever since this was announced, I've been getting this question nonstop on social media, both on Instagram DMs, comments, TikTok, all over the place. People keep asking me what I think about this acquisition. There have been a ton of people making memes about this, which I've laughed at quite a bit, to be honest with you. And even on the Facebook tequila groups that I'm a part of, everybody has been talking about this acquisition and wondering, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What's going on? Oh my God! And for full disclosure, I have worked with Lalo in the past. I've worked with them very recently. I've hosted events with Lalo. I've gone to events with Lalo. I've met Lalo himself, interviewed him. It's on this channel. And Lalo Gonzalez himself called me shortly after the acquisition happened to talk to me about it and to let me know that this was happening, and we got to chatting about a bunch of different things. And so I want to make that clear so that if you're watching this, you can, take that into consideration to listen to what I have to say. I promise that I'm going to be giving a very balanced and nuanced, unbiased take on what I believe is happening. But again, I want to be transparent so that if you think that I'm full of shit, then that's up to you. You can decide that on your own, but I want to be transparent about that. So, but what are my thoughts on all this? And first of all, before we even get there, let's talk about what is happening. Well, Tito's Vodka, of the gluten-free vodka fame, which, spoiler alert, all spirits are gluten-free, they have acquired a majority stake in Lalo Tequila. What's really fascinating to me about that is that while Lalo is made in Mexico, the brand itself is actually based out of Austin, Texas, and so is Tito's. So in a weird way, there's some synergy on that front where they're both from Austin and there's some of that like local, kind of vibe there. And both Lalo, the company, and Tito's, the company, have stated that nothing will change from a production standpoint with Lalo Tequila. Lalo Gonzalez himself told me that there won't be any changes to the brand. In fact, their goal with this is so that it helps grow and expand the brand more. He will stay on to oversee production. He's still a massive part of this brand. It's named after him. Now, of course, caveat, this is where the skepticism kind of starts coming in, where it's like, well, that's great. They're saying all this stuff now, but how do we know that's true? And really, that's kind of where we need to kind of wait and see, right? I'm just sharing to you what was said to me and what they're also publicly putting out there. The idea is that nothing will change, is that they will continue keeping production the same, continue doing the same things, and really kind of keep things just kind of growing and chugging along. That seems to be the idea right now. Anyway, and now, so the question really is, why? Why would Tito's, a vodka brand, acquire a tequila brand? Well, for a couple of different reasons. One, Lalo, like I said, is one of the fastest growing tequila brands on the planet. I think that there's a lot of reasons for that. A great story, great design, an incredible product. Obviously, I've said this a lot. I've liked them quite a bit, but there's a really key thing here that I think that maybe people aren't really seeing. And I think that this is truly where I think the magic for Tito's anyway, that they're seeing this and why they wanted to do this. Lalo, from its very inception, they always said that they were never going to make aged expressions. They were only going to make blancos, right? Tito's is in literally almost every single bar on the planet. Not mine, which is why I don't have a bottle to use as a prop here. Why would they do this? Why would they acquire this? Well, I think that obviously Tito's sees the massive growth in the tequila space. They see how much people have been ravenous for this spirit, and they wanted something. And again, this is speculation. I don't know any of this. This is just me putting it out there. It makes business sense in my brain, which is they have a product that's very simple and easy to understand. If they can bundle this with Tito's, they can actually take the fastest growing brand and literally like strap a fucking rocket to it and shoot it to the moon. Because if they can start getting Lalo into all of the places that has Tito's and basically making Lalo the, well tequila, or the tequila that is present everywhere that has Tito's, you're talking about an absolute instant explosive growth, and the sales will go through the roof. Now, that'll lead to questions of maintaining the quality, of maintaining it the right way and growing the proper way, which are all valid concerns. I think that those criticisms and skepticism is valid, super valid. And that's just why I think that Tito's acquired Lalo. Obviously, I think that it's a good product. I think it's a great product. And the reasons why is that they have a distribution network that they can tap into literally instantly and just like explode this brand, right? I'm sure you could have already imagined that yourself, but like, what are some examples of this happening in the past, both good and bad, and what can we learn from? On the one hand, we have the big one that we're, all avoiding is Don Julio, the grandfather of Lalo himself. They then sold it to Diageo. A lot of people complained that it went down in quality. They were just trying to make money off of it. I have talked a lot of crap about Don Julio on this channel, and I don't need to go into it more in this video. And obviously, it's a common thing that's happened. Big brands will acquire a smaller brand, strip it down to just the bare essentials, and just sell it using its name to make money. It's a story as old as time, it seems. But the important one is, has there been examples of this where that hasn't been the case? Where in fact, a smaller brand doing things the right way, getting acquired by a bigger brand, actually led to more positive outcomes. Well, for that, I have a very important example to show you. El Tesoro is one of my favorite brands of tequila on the planet. The master distiller, Carlos Camarena, the new master distiller, Jenny Camarena, but previously Carlos, they're the family that have been making El Tesoro for a very long time. And they were acquired by Beam Suntory, the folks who own so many. It's a massive conglomerate. They own a bunch of different brands. And I would argue that their acquisition of El Tesoro not only was a benefit to this brand, it actually helped do even more cool shit with this brand. One of the things that was key to this is that Suntory kept Carlos Camarena in charge of the brand. He was the master distiller, Jenny was head of operations. They didn't touch the production. They acquired the brand, they changed the branding a little bit to make it more appealing. They also gave him more resources that a bigger brand has. And one of those examples that I talked about in this video, where I talked about El Tesoro, is that they were able to use some of the barrels that they aged some of their whiskeys in and give them to El Tesoro for them to be able to age their tequila in to create really incredible expressions. And that, I would argue, was only possible because they were acquired by Beam Suntory. And it's been a very long time since they've acquired El Tesoro, and they really do treat it like a part of the portfolio without meddling in production. If Tito's takes the Suntory approach with that El Tesoro took, I think that could actually be a positive. Now, I wanted to show this and explain. I don't think that it's a guarantee that that'll happen, but I think that this is an example of a larger conglomerate that has a larger distribution network acquiring a brand and really, lighting a fire under it to try to get it into more places and just propel the brand forward and keep growing and doing more cool stuff. And so lastly, to this point, what do I think about this acquisition? Now, at first, I was a little stunned. I was like, oh my God, Tito's? Like, it was a weird one for me because I'm like, that doesn't seem right. I also talk so much about, the heritage of brands and talking about, where they come from and like the story behind them. And that's so important to me. And so it felt at first a little weird. I was like, oh, that's a little strange. But then I remembered El Tesoro, and that really was like, okay, actually there's examples of this not being a terrible thing. In my opinion, it's if they can maintain the quality, they maintain and continue doing what they have been doing to get the brand to this point, but just doing it with better resources and a bigger team and more of the structure that a larger company can provide. I think that's not a bad thing. I think that's good. I think you can still continue enjoying this brand and enjoying what they're putting out. That being said, with that explosive growth, there will always come the temptation of cutting corners. There will be always the temptation of ruining the brand in the name of making more money. And, the moment that changes is the moment that I'll stop enjoying this and supporting this brand. As of right now, all indications that they are going to continue doing so, and it's all I can go off of, right? I think that the game is let's wait and see, and at least in my opinion. And if they are able to continue to innovate and continue to do things that they've been doing, I mean, they just released an incredible high proof. I did a review on here and on Instagram the other day, and I love that high proof. I'm such a big fan of it. I actually have it right here. And as long as they can continue making incredible stuff like this and really pushing the envelope in this sense, then who cares who owns them? As long as Lalo's still overseeing production, the master distiller's still doing what they're doing, and they're not changing what's happening in the glass, I think that there's no issue with that. In the same way that I don't think there's any issue with El Tesoro being owned by Suntory. I think that's fine. The juice is still great. I still love this brand. Now, if they go in the route of Don Julio, I think that's really bad. I get it. It's an on the fence answer, and I'm not trying to, provide cover or anything for anyone. I just wanted to make this video because I think it's fascinating to talk about, especially given how much I've talked about so many other brands and things similar to this, and seeing it happen in real time is kind of crazy. And getting a call by the founder of this brand and be like, hey man, this is happening. That's wild to me. I love it. And Lalo's a great guy. I really do enjoy him, but I didn't expect to get a call for that. I was kind of wild. If it works out, I think it'll be a masterstroke for Tito's. They'll be able to tap into the tequila market very quickly, get this in the hands of so many people, which will absolutely explode the popularity of this brand. And I think that's That's not a bad thing at all. As, you know, bartenders, consumers, whatever you are, I think that what matters to us is what's inside the bottle. If it remains additive free, if it remains high stakes. And truthfully, I'll say one more thing. I think that there's so much fuss being made about the additive free movement and making tequila the right way, that I think it would be so ridiculous if Tito stripped this down for parts just to make money off of it. I think that it'd be such a dumb move because of how much pressure has been happening in the tequila space on that front. I think that why would you acquire one of the fastest growing brands in that category just to then kind of shit all over it for money? Obviously the answer is for money, but I think it would be a silly business move if they did that. Maybe that's me saying it out of a desire for it to not to happen, but that is my thoughts on this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Did I miss something in this evaluation of all of this that maybe you think I should have talked about? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, I'm gonna continue enjoying this Lalo until the day that it stops being good. And if that never happens, amazing. And if they keep making stuff like this, amazing. And let's hope that's the case. So, cheers.